computer. It's recording right now, so we are going to start. It's already 6:05. It's time to start. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry that last month we were kind of busy in Mexico and I didn't have the time to organize any talk and was really busy with that. But let's keep going this month, following months, the first Monday of each month. Thank you, Ronnie, for being here. Ronnie is new to the community and we are welcoming you. Thank you so much for being here. And then basically today the question would be why you're going to talk about the asana practice, how asana is related to meditation. This is a meditation seminar, but basically I think that is defined in this quote that I quote period from the owner of Yoga Loft. I listened this from her and the first time, and I constantly use it in my classes, which is asana is not a workout, it's a work-in. Asana practice is not a workout, it's a work-in. Most of us were going into the asana practice as a physical practice, which is a physical practice. Now, how we then move from this idea of physical practice to work-in, well, let's see. Let's try to explore that. That's why I would like to talk about the asana practice. And all of you practice yoga one way or another with me or on your own or have practiced yoga some way. So I would like to start with that. I would like to start acknowledging, answering, and if you can please write it down. You don't need to make a great explanation, but in the paper that you have in front of you, write down why you are practicing asana, why you are practicing yoga. Give me a second. We're going to meditate about it for a moment. Close your eyes. And then as you close your eyes, imagine yourself walking into the yoga practice, whatever it is your practice, walking into the beautiful Stoneview Park, walking into the beautiful Loft at Woodland Hills, walking into any studio you're going, practicing yoga at home, at your own. Ask yourself the question, see yourself walking in there, and then ask yourself the question. Don't think so much. Just write down the first 1, 2, 3 things that pop up in your mind. Please open your eyes and do it. You're not going to share it, so no worries. Write anything that you honestly think. Or maybe I ask you to share it if you want, but that's not in my head, not in my plan. That's it. Take your time. Good. So when we practice asana, the body speaks. You know, I would say that the body is like when we practice asana is when the body becomes a doorway. You see, most of you bought the book that I wrote about the doorways, and I like the idea of a doorway because it's like a way in which you just walk in and then you go and it is guiding you into some place. All these doorways, the breathing, the body, the heart, the mind, and the soul are going into the main idea of the yoga practice, which is to understand who we really are. Who is this? Who is I? No, who is I? Who is this entity? Well, Diego, the yoga teacher, the father, a partner, an Argentinian, all those are positions and possessions. who this thing is, who is this, right? It's a question that we all do have, and we don't know so well. We don't have a good answer. Who am I? But in any case, the yoga practice is based upon that, based upon the exploration of that part. And then these doorways are helping us to understand that. So the asana practice is the art to listen to the language of the body. When you are practicing yoga, you want to listen to that language, which is something that I constantly say. How many times I say when you are laying down in the beginning of the class, what your heart is telling you today? What is your heart telling you today? Right? How many times I talk about that? And the same happened with the body. The problem is that with the body, we see the body more like an obstacle, than like an instrument in order for it to become a doorway. Because our limitations, because we are not flexible enough, because physical problems that we have, because there is a list and we can keep going and going and going. But as I say before, asana is not a workout, it's a work-in, regardless what you see in the social media, which is crazy because when you see social media and the asana practice is beautiful, there is a lot of amazing practitioners of asana practice, but that's to put the cart in front of the horses. You really don't practice yoga because of that. If you can attain that type of practice, fantastic, thumbs up. But that's like, considering that you got it's much more important the map than the territory, right? It doesn't matter how you practice. What matters is how much or what you accomplish physically to the asana practice. What matters is how much you are able to listen to the messages that your body is providing at every moment that you are moving into an asana practice. Now, if you are in any pose of yoga and you are just developing an amazing pose of yoga and you are thinking about the grocery list, that's not yoga. Even though you are you can, we can take a picture of you and say, wow, but that's not yoga. So let's demystify this a little bit because there is a lot of confusion, I think, about it. And I don't want to get into any discussion. I have like 5 books of history of yoga right there in that shelf. I wouldn't say that all of them really agree on this, but there is a history of yoga. And my teacher, David Simon, used to say, and you hear this from me, the least flexible people I ever met are yogis. I think that we yoga teachers or yogis or apprentices, yogi apprentices, as I feel myself, are constantly, we are just holding on many things instead to represent what the yoga practice expresses and teaches us, which is flexibility. So the first knowledge we have about yoga is 5,000 years ago. That's the first knowledge we have. It's historically proven. There is a seals of Estiatit found on the Mohenjo-Daro, which is now the region of India and Pakistan, and it's the first historic event or situation in which we realize, oh, people were practicing yoga 5,000 years ago. We can prove that. Studies of yoga believe that this is coming from much before than that, but in any case, it doesn't matter. At that time, the poses that we were practicing, because today we're talking about asana, were based upon sitting positions. That's it. And those poses were based upon being able to sit and meditate. And that's all. So the poses that you are seeing today is an evolution of that, which is yoga. And why yoga wouldn't evolve as everything else? That's why my teacher, David Simon, was pretty accurate about this saying, no? The least flexible people are yogis, because many yogis are very fixed on the idea, well, this is what it is, and this is what yoga is, and so on. I believe as yoga is a great evolution. 2,500 years of evolution, 5,000 years of evolution, sorry, in reality, from that moment on, maybe more, 7,000 years of evolution. That's how I believe yoga is. In any case, the most accurate or the most closest event, I would say, that registers yoga poses as we practice yoga poses today, as you practice asana today, is a book called Hatha Yoga Pradipika. That's the first event that happens that you can say, well, those poses are some poses that we are practicing today. When that happened? 15th century. So 500 years ago. 500 years ago, we have the first proof that already some teachers were teaching these yoga poses as we teach yoga poses today. Okay? Of course, there was a previous knowledge, and I don't want to get into that discussion because that's when people start disagreeing, and some people say, well, but that's there, this is there. I don't care about any of that. I am just bringing some facts for you to understand this. So let's say that in the 15th century, we have this book. In that book, called Hatha Yoga Pradipika, basically the book states that the Shiva, this deity called Shiva, taught us about 8,400,000 poses. Okay, 8,400,000 poses. Each of the poses for every being in this planet. Whatever being in this planet is, there is a pose that represents that being in the planet. For these 8,400,000 poses, 84 poses only are the most important poses for human. This is what the Hatha Yoga Pradipika book says, 84. Most of you practice with me around 50 to 60 poses already. Okay, from those 84 poses. From those 84 poses that the book states are important for human beings, 15 are just described in the text, only 15. And for those 15, 4 poses are emphasized, like the most important poses, and those 4 poses are sitting positions to meditate. So obviously, in the yoga practice, meditation is at the core of the practice, and we practice asana in order to realize that. Now, the thing is that the asana was evolving to the point that somehow there are practitioners today in social media, there are amazing asana practitioners that are doing incredible things. So that's the evolution of the asana. Another important epic event in this history is what happened in 1926. So exactly 100 years ago. And it was the school of Mysore in India. The Raja of Mysore, the city in India, decided to create a yoga school. It's the school of Mysore. And he invites and he became patron of Krishnamacharya. Krishnamacharya is said to be the father of the modern yoga, the yoga that you are practicing with me or in yoga studios. And that happened about 100 years ago. And this guy got 4 disciples that were very important disciples and the very great teachers. Patavishoy, Astanga Yoga. You hear about it. It's basically called Vinyasa Flow in Sun Studios. Iyengar, you hear about Iyengar a lot from me because I like proper alignment and I am constantly emphasizing proper alignment. Iyengar for me is an amazing teacher, and I was never certified as an Iyengar teacher, but I studied at a school. Indra Devi, who basically is interesting. She died in Argentina. I just say that, but she died in Argentina. And Desit Chakar, who was the son of Krishnamacharya. So these 4 teachers plus Krishnamacharya are seen as the teachers that develop the yoga that we practice these days in the yoga studios. Okay, so we are like a living lineage of this. When you are practicing yoga, you are emphasizing this, and slowly all this is growing. And this is how the yoga practice went during 5,000 years ago. So in the beginning, let's say that the only emphasis we can prove there was an emphasis on sit and meditate, which is one of the things that I love when I went to the Chopra Center. When I went to the Chopra Center, I just show up and say, I want to learn yoga, sit and meditate. No, but I want to become a yoga teacher, sit and meditate. So that's why you hear me constantly in my retreats, in my yoga classes. Meditation is the core of the yoga practice. Because in reality, when we are practicing asana, the only thing that we want is to be able to use the body as a doorway. Use the body as a doorway in order to understand who we are, what's going on with us, how I am doing today. It's not a physical practice. The physical practice is the default of this story. It happens, yes. You are going to tone your muscles. You are going to open your joints. You are going to create a lot of changes in your body. Yes, it will happen. But that is related with you working in this whole entity you are, which is an intellectual, emotional, physical entity. Think about yourself and these areas of your existence. Think about yourself as this physical body, this emotional center, and this intellectual center. And then, as I always say, who is listening to that? Who is the observer that is connecting with all of that? Who is the observer that is having that experience? Is your body? Yes. Is your heart? Yes. Is your mind? Yes. Who is the entity that is having the experience? You are going to say, I, me. Okay, who is I? And then again, we go to the same question. Well, me, Diego, the yoga teacher, the Argentinian guy, the guy that migrated from the south to the north, whatever. Start just making the list. Do you really think that this is me? I can't even choose my name. So why am I going to attach to that? Even though I love Diego, but I didn't even choose that name. Why am I going to attach to that? Why am I going to define myself like that? So this takes us into asana as the inner practice, as an inner practice. And one of the Patanjali sutras, which is the little book that you saw many times, I'm reading. It's called the Father of Yoga, Patanjali. One of the sutras is Sthira Sukham Asanam, which means something like steady and easeful. The yoga practice should be steady and easeful. You want to be grounded when you practice your poses, and you want to be easy. You want to be relaxed. As soon as you start, stop and start again. And if you can go, don't go. No one's going to say anything. I mean, I'm not going to say anything. You know me. Who's going to say something? It's you. It's your inner fight, which is fine. It's part of the learning process. That inner conversation. My neighbor is doing it and I am not doing it. Good. It's good. Thumbs up. It's part of the conversation, the inner conversation. Instead, and I say it on the book, I wrote it because I think that this is very important. We are going to talk about the ego, but the ego is a very important part of our life. We all do have an ego, period. Without that ego, I couldn't even connect with you. I couldn't. Now, because of that ego we have, then we develop this personality we all do have, because, just look at these pictures. We are all different. We develop this thing. And then with that, we are doing our best. which is to connect and make jokes and give us hugs and talk about life and create community and help each other and do our best. So when you are practicing asana, you want to be very grounded and you want to be easygoing. You want to, be relaxed. Allow breathing to be the teacher. Allow breathing to be the teacher. It's not how far, another quote of my teachers, it's not how far you can reach, it's how deep you can breathe. This is how it is. It's not how far you can reach. It's not about doing Paschimottanasana and grab your feet and become a book, a folded book with your body. Yes, fine. If you reach that, thumbs up, amazing. I'm going to applaud. And I do, because it's beautiful to see it. But that's not absolutely the idea. The idea is that when you are in that pose, you are able to breathe. When you are in that pose, you are able to relax. When you are in that pose, you are able to align and to feel your body instead to feel the body as an obstacle, which is what most of the time happens because our ego is telling us, I don't reach and I want to reach. And then we go into this, oh. So to work on that, it takes a lot of time. And I would say, take the physical sensation as a feedback, not as resistance. The physical sensation that every yoga pose produce within you, create within you, take it as the feedback of the pose. The body is telling you something. Instead to feel, oh, I can't reach, oh, I can't do this, oh, this is not working, oh, yes, those are things that happens in the mind, but you can switch that type of dialogue. You can create a different type of dialogue. Make any sense? Mm-hmm. Any questions until now? I think that the key points here is that we move our body in order to free the breath. And this is what we do. Breathing is crucial. And then breathing need to flow. And the alignment of the body is also in order to quiet the mind. When the body is in good alignment, then the effort is different. I always say this because this is very important. Listen carefully. Using the right group of muscles in order to align bones against gravity. I'm going to repeat this because this is super important. When we practice asana, what we are doing is to use the right group of muscles in order to align bones against gravity. And I do an example. I hope you can see properly there. I'm going to support this with my other arm, right there. Can you see the elbow there or no? Can you see the elbow, yes or no? No. Okay. Let me see if you can see the elbow there. Can you see the elbow there? Yes. Perfect. So if I align my forearms like this, and I relax my hand like this, I can stay here my entire life. I don't do nothing here. You see? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Zero effort on my right arm. Zero. Why? Because my radio bone is in alignment against gravity. I use my the right group of muscles. I am not doing this, right? I am not using my face to bend the elbow. I am bending the elbow with the biceps. I bend the elbow. I sit the elbow. Asana means sit. Asana means sit. I sit the elbow and then I relax because I align the bone against gravity. I am not doing any effort. Zero. Now, what happens if I move the arm like this? How long it would resist? How long? In 5 minutes, my arm is going to fall. Right? Why? because gravity is pulling me down. Here, gravity can do anything about the forearm. Nothing, zero. Chances for gravity to bend the bones. Zero chances. Make any sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine that with your entire body. You use the entire group of muscles in order to align your entire body against gravity, against gravity, in order to create your asana practice. And the physical sensation basically is not an obstacle, it's the information you are receiving, because you go into any pose and then the physical sensation is telling you, well, maybe your hamstrings are very tight. Well, you need to practice a little bit more alignment on the pelvis. Well, maybe you need to develop more resistance physically because your muscles are not well developed in your legs, to say something. On top of that, all the problems that we do have. I have my acromion up, this shoulder is smaller, is not in the right place. I have 3 ribs out of the spine. I have one vertebrae that is twisted a little bit. I have a lot of injuries for my rugby for years. When I play rugby, I got many injuries in my body, and we all do whole stuff. So with all that said, when you are facing the asana practice, you are facing the asana practice not just as a physical work, you are facing the asana practice to align properly in order to create this inner connection with you. Stability, easy, and awareness. Stability is an awareness. And those are the 3 I would say inner cues. Do I feel grounded? Can I soften the unnecessary, the things that I am doing? As I say, I am doing this and my face is like this. My face is like this. Can I soften the unnecessary? And awareness. I am here or where I am? How many times I ask you when we were practicing yoga, where are you? Where is your mind? Where is your mind taking you? And then you are practicing an asana practice and a yoga pose, and then your mind is thinking about, oh, I forgot to send the text. Cool. It's not a, please don't take this as a criticism. This happens to all of us. Okay, it's not that happened particularly to you because you are pretty bad. Forget about all of that. That doesn't exist. Okay, you are beautiful to begin with. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that happened to all of us. Okay, we are all going into the asana practice and we're all thinking about the grocery list. And the grocery list is a metaphor, right? So whatever is now in your mind, probably 90% possibilities that when you go to the yoga practice is going to cross your mind. And then do those. And depending on how hectic your day was, then more thoughts. Sometimes I meditate. I think that was today in the morning. I would say that I meditate for about an hour, and I would say that 45 minutes of that practice, I was thinking about something. That's how it is. And then I have the possibility, another 15 minutes or so, to touch a little bit peace, to touch a little bit the place that you want to touch when you meditate. Okay. That's how it works. In the asana practice is exactly the same. So regarding the postures, what time is it? 6:30 we work with. Regarding the postures, we have 4 types of postures. We have sitting positions. Remember that sitting positions are included all the positions that we work in our knees, like for example, Vajrasana, when you are sitting in diamond pose, and you are doing anything on your knees and your legs, child pose, for example. Those are also considered sitting positions. Standing positions with your feet on the floor, inverted positions, What inverted positions are? Well, consider every pose in which the head is under the heart. Just to say something. Every pose in which the head is under the heart, those are inverted positions. Make sense? And then the last one, the postures on the floor that you practice with me a lot. Why you practice with me a lot postures on the floor? Because I want you to understand the concept of gravity. And when you are on the floor is supporting you. There is no chances for you to go nowhere. You can go farther than the floor. When you are standing, you are going to play games with gravity. And if you do not understand the concept of gravity and proper alignment, well, chances are that you are going to start doing funny things standing. Of course, you practice standing poses with me, but most of my classes, you're going to start laying down on the floor. Why? Because the floor is supporting you. That's it. And then from there, you may have the idea of what gravity is doing towards you. What is gravity doing to me? Think about this. You wake up in the morning, you left bed this morning, and until now, you were fighting gravity all the way, except that you took a nap during the day. You were fighting gravity since that moment to now. Now you're fighting gravity. If I go like this and I allow this chair to go back, why this chair is going back? Because of gravity. If I am not aligning properly or having some effort, I would fall from my chair. That's what happened when we lost consciousness, right? When you drank too much. You fall, right? See, this is gravity. We are fighting gravity constantly. And then this is what happened when we don't align. Then you start just getting down. And then we close down our heart. And then we got just like this. Mm-hmm. So the practice of asana brings, and the alignment, that's what I talk a lot about alignment, brings a big deal on the posture of your body, how your body expresses. And this is very important because yoga is not for the mat. Yoga is for out there. Why we're going to practice yoga for an hour and then we forget about it? All what you learn on the mat, you're going to use it out there, including physically. How do you walk after a yoga class? Do you walk the same? Then you walk towards the yoga class? Or you walk much more liberated and much more open? My yoga classes again. Isn't it that we end the yoga classes most of the time asking ourselves, how is my body now? How is my mind now? How is my breathing now? Because those are the changes that the yoga, the asana practice create. For sure, your breathing is going to go down. It's going to slow down. You just come up with your breathing at 10, 11 repetitions per minute, and it went down to 8, 6 repetitions per minute. For sure. We can count it. You can count it. For sure, your mind is much more calm. It's not like you show up and then you just finish the yoga practice and feel, okay, wasn't that important? Yeah, it's not that. Why I'm paying so much attention to that? For sure, your body feels better. Of course, it feels better because as soon as you move a little bit, it feels better. Now, if you do asana practice, it's gonna feel better. So, and then to end with this, and then we meditate. To end with this, the ego part of it. I constantly say the same. Stop looking at your neighbor, but this is something that we all do. We look at the neighbor all the time. I remember my first yoga class, 65 women and me. 65 women and me. I was hidden in the corner. I say, I'm never going to practice this. Never. And it was funny because it was this guy that I met the day before in a lunch. He was from Canada. He was actually in charge to organize the Olympics in Canada when the Olympics were playing in Canada. I don't know how long ago. So he was an important figure. And for some reason, we just met in a lunch in a table before when the event start, and then we just kind of connect. That's all. It's not that we became friends, but we connect. What's your name? What's your name? And we develop a conversation. It was nice. The guy was from Ghana. I was in a very particular moment of my life, so I was kind of open up and talking about things. And then the morning after, I just see this guy crossing, and then he was kind of like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't go to the yoga practice. And I say, oh no, I am not going to yoga practice. And the guy looked at me and said, what? No, I am not going to the yoga practice. I said, why you're not going to the yoga practice? Oh, well, I don't know, I don't care. Oh no, I'm just going to the retreat. No, 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 no. On your room, you have a yoga mat and you need to go to the yoga practice right now. He was so emphasizing so much this that I just went to the room, pick up the yoga mat, and went to the yoga class. He has a problem. I think that he got a problem with Canada, so he said, I have to make a call and I can do it now. So the thing is that I walk in and then I see this 65 woman say, oh my God, what I am doing here? This is just for women, not for me. A stereotype mind. And then we start practicing. And then this is what happened. 20 years after, I am here talking about this. So the ego part on the yoga practice is super important because the practice is to notice it. The practice is for you to notice that inner voice. When that inner voice is saying, I am not good, I am not doing this well, she's better than me, this is not working, what I am doing here, blah, 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 blaming me, that inner voice. The practice is to notice that. That's all. What are you going to do with that? Well, we can talk, and that's what meditation is super important. And we can talk about the ego, and we will talk about the ego. But the asana practice is fantastic at that level because every pose you are going to see your mind walking in, telling you something. Every pose. And if you are able to notice it and you are able to overcome that, not in the sense to eliminate it, you don't want to eliminate it, you want to understand it and laugh. That's what I wrote in the book. I think that the best response about ego, for me, I am not saying that this is the best response. For me, the best response about ego is to laugh. Because there is nothing more ridiculous than the ego. The ego is always in a funny place. The voice, that inner voice is always something like it's nothing more than that. So it's very important to notice it because we have it and we want to understand it and we want to laugh at it. And then you move forward. And then at some point disappear. It disappear. The mind disappear. The mind is not supposed to be constantly working, but unfortunately it is. So we want to create that peace within, and the asana practice create that peace within. Makes sense? So the idea is that on each pose, your body is telling you something, and the ego interrupts that dialogue. And that's what really is. So the art of asana is, learning to follow that voice, to follow that inner voice that is telling you something instead to your body, instead to listen to the ego taking you out of the sequence you are going through, the asana you're going through. I don't know if that makes any sense, but basically the body is constantly whispering you things and the ego is constantly interrupt that inner discussion that you're having with your body, which is beautiful. Think about the asana practice as a way to cultivate your body. How cool is that? So you take, an hour per week, or 2 hours per week, or 3 hours per week, or whatever you take per week to cultivate your body doing asana. That's a big deal. I don't know if you have any questions. And if you don't have any questions, let me see if I have something here. Yeah, I think that I went through the things that I wanted to talk. I don't know if you have any questions. If not, we can meditate a little bit. Any comments? Any questions? All right, and then why we don't go one by one and saying out loud what was your first yoga practice? When you practice yoga for the first time? Who wants to start? I told you my story. Nancy?
Okay, I'll start. I started yoga was sort of like with friends when I was in college, and then once I was out of college in my mid 20s, um, I was back east, and I just happened to have an Iyengar teacher
No.
studied in India who was very influential. And in the late 80s, I moved out here to California and went to several yoga places, but it didn't feel like yoga to me. But the yoga loft did. So, um, but the asana practice is important to listen and to prepare for meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the more I practice, the more the meditation becomes the focus, even though the asana is feels great. It
Yeah.
just does relax you and um, it does center you, it grounds you.
Yeah, of course.
But I think the years it can be inconsistent, raising a family and working
Of course.
but always come back to it because it's
Mm.
what matters.
Yes. Karen?
Um, when I say this, I don't know, I feel like maybe you won't believe me, but I had my first yoga practice or classes when I was 27 years old.
Wow.
And this is my 50th year of practicing yoga
Wow.
consistently. I became a yoga teacher at one point, 20 or 25 years ago, maybe. And I took teacher's training because I had such stage fright being with groups of people that I didn't know or uncomfortable situations. So I became a yoga teacher to overcome my stage fright. And maybe you can tell now I can talk and not be afraid. No, but that was really one of my motivations. I also, I was raising children and getting divorced, and all. I needed to have something to ground me.
Mm.
So that's it. I love it. I love it. 50 years.
We love it. Who else?
Like Nancy, I started out with Iyengar when I was in college. I had at UC Santa Cruz. It was offered as a PE class, and so I started taking yoga for my PE class, and I had a wonderful Iyengar teacher. And I don't remember, it was probably 2 or 3 days a week, and I just fell in love with it. And I just remember, I just felt so good. I remember I didn't need to sleep as much, and I just felt so centered. So, and I've done it off and on since then. But when I was pregnant with my daughter, and probably with my son too, I can't remember, but I went to the prenatal classes at the Iyengar Center on 3rd Street, and those really helped me, like, with my daughter, I had such an easy labor, and I had gone to a prenatal class that day, or that morning. So
Excellent. Iyengar teachers are very good. Really,
yeah.
really good. They have an amazing school. Who else? Yes.
I was I was homesick from school when I was about 8 or 9, and I saw Richard Hittleman on TV doing yoga classes.
Wow.
And I started doing it then with that. And mainly it was because I could bend myself into all these wonderful positions. And it was very ego driven, no meditation at all. And I did it through high school. I did it when I was a young mom. I did it when I lived in Australia. I did Iyengar in Australia, which I really liked, and came back to the States. And now I'm at the Loft, and I really enjoy the quiet and the introspection that I can get. And especially, you know, you always tell us, get into a pose now, just let go. It's like, oh God. And that's the fun part. But it's getting better. I'm getting more comfortable in my body. But it's been a long time. So on and off, but I keep coming back to it.
Cool. Who else?
I'll go. I think it was around 2008. I started at a small studio in Culver City, and I don't know what kind it was, but they were very good about alignment, and the classes were like an hour and 15 minutes. And at the very end, we laid there and meditated. It was just, but then I don't know, I fell off of doing that, but then wanted to get back to it and found your classes. So
At the park. Excellent. What about you, Ronnie?
I don't remember. I think when I was 40, I found Santa Monica Yoga on Ocean Park, and I discovered a teacher that was the most incredibly unconditionally loving person in the world. And so I was going to her classes every Friday, community class, and she just is such a gift. And so that's kind of um, went along with the yoga. I mean, the poses were very simple, kind of, but it's the feeling I got from her that was very special.
Excellent. Beautiful. What about you, Kathy?
I started back in the late 90s, so quite a while ago. I did not want to take the class. I was sort of dragged there by a friend who kept bugging me. Take the class, take the class. We went to the Santa Monica College. She bought a mat and had all the yoga stuff with her, and I went with the towel, and we had to move chairs and desk around. And we took the class. They were an hour and a half back then. And after class, she turned to me and she said, "You were right. I don't like this." And I turned to her and said, "I have to teach this." And
Oh,
that was it. So, and it's evolved throughout the years. It's changed. And I stopped teaching for a while. I'm looking to get back into teaching now, but it's been quite a journey. It's been wonderful.
excellent. Yeah, many of us practice or go to the certifications in order to keep evolving within the practice. That's basically what's going on. Sometimes we don't even want to teach. I know many people that really they start practicing on the certifications in order to evolve with the practice, and it's a beautiful practice. All right, so we have about 15 minutes. I would like to meditate now. So we are going to get into it. Close your eyes. Feel ready. Sit comfortably in your places. And let's start with the body, connecting and feeling the physical sensations your body is having. Connecting with your feet, connecting with your legs, connecting with your back against the chair, your buttocks against the chair, connecting with your torso, your stomach, your chest, connecting with your pelvis, engaging your legs and your torso, shifting your attention towards your shoulders, arms, and hands, feeling all this energy flowing and flowing and flowing through your beautiful body. And then shifting finally your attention towards your head and relaxing your face muscles. Relax your jaw, relax your eyes, relax your eyebrows, relax your brow. After scanning your beautiful, beautiful body, become aware. Understanding the language of your body, what your body is telling you at this moment. You maybe feel tired, you maybe feel okay, you maybe feel relaxed, you maybe feel not as relaxed physically. You maybe feel constrictions, you maybe feel good. So it really doesn't matter. What matters is to be able to understand that voice. That presence, that solidity that your body represents. Now let's start connecting with our body in a much more deeper way. Shift your attention towards your feet, your ankles, your shin bones, your calf muscles. Feel them. Feel your toes, feel your feet, feel your ankles, feel your shin bones and calf muscles. Connect. Connect also with your knees and kneecaps. And all the energy that flows in this particular eye of your body as your attention goes, energy flows. Connect with this particular eye of your body. And if you feel ready and you were able to embrace prana energy flowing in this particular part of the body, start repeating the Bija sound. Lam, lam, lam. Keep repeating this Bija sound as you embrace prana in this region of your body. And now shift your attention towards the second region of your body that goes from your knees towards your groin, including your glutes. So connect big muscles, big bones, your thighs, your glutes. And once again, embrace the energy that flows in this particular area of your body. And as you embrace the energy, repeat the visual sound VAM, VAM, VAM. And then shift your attention towards the third region of your body that goes from your groin towards your solar plexus, the pelvic area, the abdominal area. Connect with it. And as you connect, embracing prana, repeat the visual sound for this area, which is Ram, Ram, Ram. Now shift your attention towards the fourth region of your body, which goes from the heart towards the eyebrows, including shoulders, arms, and hands. So it's your thoracic area, your shoulders, arms, and hands, and your throat and neck, and most of your head to your eyebrows. So it's a vast area in our body. Try to recognize and connect with all this vast area of your body. And when you feel that prana is flowing, then embrace that flowing, repeating the visual sound yam, yam, yam. Now shift your attention towards your throat particularly and repeat the visual sound hum, hum, hum. Embracing prana just in your throat. And now shift your attention towards your brain area, your forehead, your crown, the top part of your head, your brain area, and embrace prana in that particular area, repeating the visual sound sham, sham, sham. Finally, shift your attention towards your entire body. Connect with your entire body. Feel your entire body from the tip of your toes to the crown of your head. And when you feel ready, repeat the sound of all sounds, the sound Om, Om, Om. Now we rest. Rest in existence, rest in awareness, rest in being. When you feel ready, gently open your eyes. All right, so do you have any questions about the asana practice? Okay, so I'm gonna stop the recording.
Can you hang on just a second, Diego?
Yes, yes.
I want to ask Ronnie, or is that right?
Roni, yeah.
I practiced at Santa Monica Yoga for years. Could you tell me who your teacher was?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, her name is Cindy.
Oh, Cindy Frazier.
Yeah.
Okay. I was distracted by wondering if we had the same teacher, which we did. She's a good friend of mine for years. Thank you.
She's lovely.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. So I'm going to pause the recording. Thank you so much for being here. This was beautiful like always. Let's just stop it